Remember to slow me down. I talk fast, so slow me down. Make sure to pause to really understand the meaning. Okay, now we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing fractions. Remember, this is just a refresher. I know you guys know how to do that. But one of the things that we need to go over is rules for integers on positive and negative. So remember that a positive times a positive is always a positive, right? 7 times 5 is 35. 10 times 6 is 60. And remember, a positive times a negative is always negative. So if you've got a negative 4 times 5, then we have a negative 20. 7 times negative 3 is a negative 21. One of the rules that students seem to forget is that a negative times a negative is a positive, okay? A negative times a negative is a positive. So a negative 7 times a negative 8 is 56, and a negative 3 times a negative 9 is a 27. And a lot of times kids are like, how can a negative times a negative make a positive? Well, the example I like to give is that say you're having a party, okay, and it costs $9 out of your pocket just to feed one person. $9 out of your pocket. So you're losing $9 when somebody comes because you're losing it. And then you're having a party. So if you had 3 people come and it was $9, you are spending $27 of your own, right? But let's say you have a party and 3 people aren't coming, negative. And so now you don't have to spend that $9, negative. You save $27, positive 27. So 2 negatives in that case make a positive. So anytime you multiply or divide 2 negatives, your integer becomes positive. All right, now let's go to the fraction part. Remember your rules for multiplying. When you're multiplying, both numbers need to be in rational form, meaning A over B. They have to be in fraction form. They can't be improper. So, for example, to turn 8 into a rational number, if you're going to multiply with fractions, you can't multiply with 8. You have to turn it and make it fit the form of a rational number. And how do you do that? You put it 8 over 1. So to turn a whole number into a rational number, you just put 8 over 1. Now, after both numbers are in rational form, you have to see if you can cross-reduce. So a lot of times students don't cross-reduce, and it takes so much longer in the process. So remember in math, what we want to do is we want to be efficient. We want to be quick, but correct, right? So we want to save ourselves time. So for example, if I had 8 times 3 1/4, okay? I have to make this fit the form of rational number, so I'm going to turn it into 8 over 1 times, now I have to turn that into a rational number. So I'm going to popcorn, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, over 4. Now, sometimes students just multiply straight across. Don't do that yet. See if you can cross-reduce. So I look at 1 and 13. No number goes into 1 and 13, so that's fine. But look at 8 and 4. Is there a number that goes into both 8 and 4? Yeah, 4. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. I've reduced it. Now I'm going to cross multiply. 2 times 13 is 26. 1 times 1 is 1, or just 1. And I can turn that back into 26. So 8 times 3 1/4 is 26. Okay? All right. So when you multiply fractions, you have to make this form. It has to be A over B times C over D. Rational number, okay? You can't have a whole number times a whole number. That's just adding and subtracting fractions. When multiplying and dividing, it has to fit the form A over B times C over D, okay? All right, so let's look at number 1. Right here. Okay. So first, I have to make it fit the form A over B. So I'm going to popcorn, 7 times 1 plus 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is 12. Okay? No, it's not. It's 11. What am I talking about? So I get 11 over 7 times 6 times 2 plus 1. That's 13 over 6. Now, I look to see, can I cross multiply? In this case, no. There's no number that goes into both of those. So I'm going to multiply 11 times 13 Do y'all know the trick for multiplying 11s by a number? You split 1 and 3 and you add. 1 plus 3 is 4. So 11 times 13 is 143. We can talk more about that. This is just kind of a trick for 11s. Anyway, so I multiplied straight across, and then 7 times 6 is 42. Now, here's the deal. Just because I put it in improper fraction form doesn't mean I keep it. So I'm going to see how many whole times does 42 go into 143. Now, for purposes of this video, I should have used easy numbers, but I didn't. So I think that 42 goes into 143 3 whole times. So I'm going to put 3 whole times. And then I ask myself, well, what is 42 times 3? It's 126. So that's true. So it goes in there 3 whole times, and then how many are left over? Well, I take 143 minus 126, and I get that there are 17 numbers left over. I can't reduce it, so there's my answer. Okay, so that is multiplying fractions. Fit the form, cross-reduce if you can, and then multiply straight across. All right, that's all I'm going to do here for multiplying fractions. Let's go on to dividing fractions. Okay, when you divide fractions, you just got to do one more thing before you multiply, because we are going to multiply. So what I like to say is that you keep, switch, flip. Keep, switch, flip. I don't know how you learned it in lower school, but I always say keep, switch, flip. So what does that mean? Well, you keep the numerator, don't change it, 9 and 1/3. We're dividing here. And then you have 6 and 1/2. Okay, so first I'm going to write it like we normally look at it. So division, fraction means division. Remember, you can never have a fraction on a fraction. Doesn't make sense in math. So 9 and 1/3 divided by 6 and 1/2. So keep it, 9 and 1/3. Switch your sign from division to multiplication. I should have told you first, I'm sorry. Again, if I could edit, I would edit this out, but I have to make sure they're in improper form first. Sorry. So 27 plus 1 is 28/3 divided by 13/2. Now I'm going to keep, switch, flip. So I'm going to keep the 28/3. I'm going to switch my sign, and I'm going to flip my reciprocal to 2 over 13. So I keep it, I switched it, and I flipped it. Keep, switch, flip. I do want to see if I can cross-reduce. I can't in this case, so what do? I multiply straight across, and I get 56 over 39. That is improper, so we're going to change it back into a mixed number. 39 goes into 56 one whole time, with 17 left over, and 39 remains my denominator. Okay? So I get 1 and 17/39. So those are just a refresher rules, but remember, multiplying, you gotta fit the form A over B. Same thing with dividing. You gotta fit the form A over B, C over D, and then division is keep, switch, flip. Okay. Come see me if this isn't making sense.